I predict that Eubank will not come out for the 11th or 12th round at Tottenham Hotspur, and Conor Benn will win by late stoppage.
There's a begrudging respect that Conor Benn has for Chris Eubank, but I feel that he's starting to like his opponent.
Conor, a few months down the line, although tasted defeat for the first time and had that sort of gutting feeling, and he was devastated afterwards.
Eddie Hearn and an analyst give an in-depth breakdown and official prediction for the Benn Eubank rematch. To start with, Conor Benn, who has vowed to replace emotion with calculation. He admitted he fought with too much emotion and a reckless desire to hurt Chris Eubank Jr. in their first fight. But in this time, his mindset has completely changed. He is now entirely focused on winning in a disciplined and controlled manner. Benn promised that fans will see a much more composed and strategic version of himself in the ring, dedicated to securing the victory.
Yeah, do you know what it was? It wasn't even a matter of preparation, or it was simply emotion. You know, so going into the fight, everybody knows who's followed me in my career, I'm an emotional guy, and I fought with too much emotion. You know, for me it was going in there and rendering him unconscious and really doing some damage, which you could say I'd done by putting him in hospital for 3 days. That was my sort of mindset going into the fight, whereas now for me it's about making sure I secure the win and stay disciplined in doing that. I watched the fight back and it was, I was disappointed, yeah, of course. I was disappointed because I got 36 minutes to get it right, and everything went out the window because I couldn't control my head or my heart. I was going to say you guys know what to expect, but you know, no doubt, see a more disciplined version of myself.
Across the ring, Chris Eubank Jr. is also evolving. He explained that he re-teamed with trainer Bomac for a fresh tactical approach to the rematch. He described Bomac as a smart, cerebral, and experienced trainer who excels at studying opponents and devising clever game plans. Eubank emphasized that he needed a new set of eyes for this fight and to use new tactics to catch Conor Benn off guard, with the clear goal of stopping him this time.
You know anything about Bomac, you would know calmness is not a word you will use to describe this man, but he is smart, he is cunning, he is very cerebral, and he's experienced, and he comes up with great game plans. You know, he watches these guys, he studies these guys, and he figures them out. He figures out ways to take advantage of their disadvantages in the ring. You know, I wanted a new set of eyes on this fight. I didn't want to go in there with the same kind of game plan, and you know, we got to throw some banana skins in there. We've got to catch this guy off guard. You can't come with the same tactics, you know. We want to stop this guy.
Moreover, Eubank stated that sparring is the single most important part of his training regimen. He believed it is impossible to reach an elite level without consistently facing a wide variety of styles and opponents. He emphasized that intense regular sparring is crucial for preparing for a real fight. He argued that simply hitting pads is insufficient. A fighter must learn to perform under fire, endure punches, and adapt to a combat environment. This is the reason his training camp commits to sparring 3 times per week.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite part, it's the most important part. Sparring is the one thing that you cannot go without, in my opinion, to be able to improve, to be able to make it as an elite level fighter. You have to fight, you have to spar as many different people, as many different styles, as many different weights as you can over the years, and especially during a training camp, you have to get used to that energy, that viciousness. It's not enough to just hit pads and bags. You have to get hit, you have to get hurt, you have to hurt people. You have to get into that mode of war. So 3 times a week, that's what we do.
Moving ahead, Eddie Hearn expressed complete confidence heading into the highly anticipated rematch between. After observing Benn throughout training camp, both physically and emotionally, Hearn believed Benn is perfectly prepared. He acknowledged Eubank's toughness and size advantage, but emphasized that Benn will be smarter, more strategic, and just as aggressive this time. Confident in the younger fighter's hunger and improvement, Hearn predicted that Conor Benn will ultimately prevail in another all-out war on November 15th.
Yeah, no nerves, just excited. I want it to be Saturday, November the 15th now. Really confident. I mean, confident from everything that I've seen from Conor Benn in this camp, not just physically as well, but emotionally, talking to him, seeing Eubank, listening to a couple of the comments as well, I think we're fantastically poised to win this rematch. Not going to be easy. Eubank's shown his toughness. You know, he's a true competitor, and he's much bigger. But we'll be smarter this time. We'll still be spiteful. We'll still be violent, but we'll be better. And I think the younger man will prevail on November the 15th in another war.
Looking at the previous fight, Hearn believed Benn's experience from the first fight would be crucial. He acknowledged that Benn fought with raw emotion and anger last time, but now expected to be far more composed and focused. He believed their intense personal rivalry would make every encounter a classic, but emphasized that this one is critical, calling it potentially Benn's last chance to secure a victory in their rivalry.
That was always a worry going into that first fight, was the occasion. I think he dealt with it well, but you know, he still fought off emotion. And pride, and probably anger as well. And this time he'll be a lot more composed in the changing room. You know, the changing room will be the same, the ring walk will be the same. When he looks around, he's seen it before. This time we just got to be more switched on and more focused.
The first fight was so good. Do you think this one can top it?
I think this fight, you know, these two could fight 100 times. Everyone will be a classic because it means too much. And it means so much, and obviously this time around for Conor Benn, it couldn't mean more. I mean, he has to win this fight for redemption. If this is Eubank Benn 4, and the Benns are yet to pick up a victory, and this could be the last chance.
Furthermore, Hearn confidently predicted that Chris Eubank Jr. wouldn't last the full fight when he faces Conor Benn at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He expected he probably wouldn't come out for the 11th or 12th. Hearn believed Benn's relentless pressure and power would eventually overwhelm Eubank, leading to a late stoppage win for Benn.
I predict that Eubank will not come out for the 11th or 12th round at Tottenham Hotspur, and Conor Benn will win by late stoppage.
From Abel Sanchez's point of view, his prediction is nuanced because it isn't a simple pick. He first gives credit to Chris Eubank Jr., acknowledging his performance in the first fight. This showed respect for Eubank's abilities. However, when looking ahead to the rematch, Sanchez foresaw another tough and closely contested battle. Despite this, his final judgment leaned toward Conor Benn, as he believed Benn's constant work rate and high volume of punches would once again be the decisive factor that leads him to victory.
You know, in the first fight, I thought Conor was going to be active enough to defeat Chris, and Chris fought a better fight than I thought he was going to be able to do against Conor. I think it'll be a close fight, but the outcome may be the same.
Peter Fury viewed the rematch as a true 50-50 fight, but believed Conor Benn had a better chance this time. He pointed to a key factor. Chris Eubank Jr. looked drained making the weight for their first fight, and he is surprised Eubank has agreed to the same difficult conditions. Fury's advice to Benn is to box with discipline, not emotion, warning that seeking a knockout will leave him vulnerable to a skilled opponent.
I think Benn can do more, and he's going to learn from it, the first one. So, and Eubank looked drained at that weight. I'm surprised he's gone in again for the same weight, same rules, because you could see he looked like he was struggling to get to that weight, and it showed in there at times. So I think it's a 50-50. You know, Benn's in with a better chance this time than the first time. Yeah, you've got to box. Look, it's called boxing for a reason. You know, you've got to box. When you're looking for big shots and take somebody's head off, somebody will pick you apart. You know, this is skill set in there. This level is you got to box your way in.
But Gareth A. Davies has noted a change in the rivalry between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. He stated that there is now a big grudging respect from Benn towards Eubank, and he felt that Benn might be starting to like his opponent. Davies finds this development particularly interesting as he prepares to interview both fighters. He noted that this complex mix of rivalry and emerging respect adds a new layer of intrigue to their upcoming rematch.
There's a begrudging respect that Conor Benn has for Chris Eubank, but I feel that he's starting to like his opponent.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'll be interesting because you're speaking to both of them this week.
I'm speaking to Conor Benn in the morning.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they both say.
A begrudging...
In his own words, Conor Benn stated that his main focus was on fighting for a world title, and he had already told his team to pursue that path. He admitted that while he's being paid very well for this fight, it wasn't his original plan. Benn made it clear that facing Eubank isn't about the money. He was ready to move forward in his career and chase his goal of becoming a world champion.
I instructed my team to make the world title fight. Not too bothered. Do you know what I mean? It don't really make no difference to me. Don't get me wrong, I'm getting paid handsomely for this, but you know, I was ready to go on and achieve my world title goals.
Meanwhile, Eubank's trainer Bomac clearly said that if Chris Eubank Jr. wins this fight, it will finally close the long-standing rivalry between the Benn and Eubank families, from the fathers to the sons. He believed a victory would solidify Eubank's place among the top contenders in the division, putting him within reach of a world title shot. Bomac added that if Eubank proves himself on Saturday, the champion at 160 pounds would open a title opportunity for Eubank.
When he wins this fight, you know, that puts the nail in the coffin for him, and for the rivalry from his father to him, the two sons, and then as they move forward in the division, I think he'll be one or two in the division. So whoever got the belt at 160, you got to know Chris is coming.
Do you think a title fight is in the line next when he gets through Saturday?
I'm sure it is. It should be. It should be whoever 160 out there, they should be worried that, you know, some sanctioning body is going to press the issue about giving Chris his title shot.
Adam Smith reflected on their first fight, saying that around the third or fourth round, he realized Conor Benn genuinely had a chance to win. Initially, he thought Chris Eubank Jr. was the favorite because of Benn's inactivity and the weight difference. However, Benn managed to trouble Eubank at times, and he wondered if Eubank's long career and weight cut might have been too much for him. Still, Eubank showed great resilience to finish strong. Now, he's unsure who will win the rematch, believing Benn's experience of defeat may have made him tougher and more determined this time.
Well, in the first fight, I thought there was a moment, maybe third or fourth round, that I thought, wow, Conor Benn's got a real chance here. And I wasn't sure with the inactivity and the weight and everything else that I thought Chris was very favourite for me going in. But I thought there were times where Conor got to him, and I wondered whether Chris's maybe the length of his career and the push down to the weight may have been too much, but he gutted it out down the stretch last time, which was the really impressive thing for me. Twisting on this fight, I thought Chris would win it first time around, but I'm not sure this time, because I think Conor, a few months down the line, although tasted defeat for the first time and had that sort of gutting feeling.
Moving towards Liam Guff's perspective, he pointed out that Chris Eubank Jr. has likely outgrown the 160-pound division and that the rehydration clause could seriously affect his performance. He explained that after the second Liam Smith fight, Eubank should have moved up in weight, as cutting down now could drain him. Considering the first Benn fight was already punishing, and Eubank is the older man, recovery will take longer, which might be the deciding factor in this rematch. Guff believed that without the rehydration limits, Eubank should win, especially under trainer Bomac, who previously brought out a disciplined and sharp version of him. If that same Eubank shows up, Guff thinks he could even stop Conor Benn.
Eubank Jr. is now 36 years old. If he has to adhere to this rehydration clause, which he's clearly outgrown 160 pounds, probably outgrew it a couple of years ago, really. Probably outgrew it really after the Liam Smith fight, the second fight. Probably then was the time to move up. To chuck a rehydration clause limit on that, given the fact that the first fight was punishing, Eubank is the older man, so you would imagine it's going to take him longer to get over that. That could really be the difference between him winning and losing this fight. I think that if you're talking about if you're talking about no rehydration clause, Chris Eubank Jr. in theory should win this fight. Especially now that he's got Bomac back in the team. Jonathan Banks is a good trainer, nothing against Jonathan Banks, brilliant trainer, but Bomac is, especially when you consider that when Eubank worked with him, he really respected him.
According to Vidal Riley, he believed the fight would be a technical boxing match, not a wild brawl. He thought Conor Benn would win by outpointing Eubank Jr. over the full distance, not by knocking him out. He also noted that both fighters have a stubborn personal disagreement about their past. The ring is simply the place to settle it. His final point is straightforward. The fight will happen, one man will get hurt and lose, and then it will all be over.
I have a feeling the fight's going to be underwhelming, but Conor's going to outbox him. That's what I think. That's what I genuinely think. It's Chris Eubank stuff, isn't it? It's Chris Eubank stuff. He's gonna, if he interpreted the events that way, and he believes it, and something aligns that makes him think that's what happened, that's it. That's it, and he's standing on it. I don't know. It's not about who's lying, who's telling the truth, and all of that. At the end of the day, he's speaking his vision, what he knows of it. Other side is doing the same. They're going to have to fight on the 15th. Someone's going to get banged up. Life continues.
Liam Smith also showed interest in a rematch, and he slightly favors Conor Benn to emerge victorious. His rationale is twofold. First, he believed Chris Eubank Jr. is in the latter stages of his career. Second, and more crucially, Smith argues that despite the fight being competitively close, Eubank possesses a fundamental flaw. He lacked the necessary technical precision to consistently target and capitalize on the defensive vulnerabilities that Benn has shown. In Smith's view, this critical shortcoming is ultimately why Benn's strengths will prevail on the night, leading him to a win.
It's crazy how Conor Benn's career has gone, because he's a huge name, a huge draw, and a huge money fight now for anyone fighting him. Yet he hasn't won a business title. He hasn't fought or beat anyone of note.
Your thoughts on this Eubank-Benn story?
The rematch, I think Conor Benn, I probably fancy Conor a little bit more because of what I think on Chris Eubank Jr. I think he's only 1 or 2 fights away from being done. We're going to get along the lines of the same fight as last time, whether it's as good and as competitive as last time. I think we're going to get the same type fight.
Does Conor have the technical ability to be able to make the impact on Chris Eubank?
I don't think Chris Eubank is as technically good and technically correct to counter Conor Benn's mistakes and exploit Conor Benn's mistakes.
Harlem Eubank did not hold back and gave his prediction on the rematch. He expected Chris Eubank Jr. to approach the rematch in a much more clinical and controlled way. He believed the back and forth nature of the first fight won't happen again, as Chris has learned from that experience and made the necessary adjustments. With a strong team around him, Harlem felt Eubank's preparations were spot on and expected him to dominate in the ring and inflict serious damage this time.
I think it will be clinical this time. You know, I don't think we'll see the back and forth of the first fight. There was a lot of things in the first fight where, you know, Chris was at a disadvantage going into the ring. I feel like he would have learned from that experience the last time out, made the changes. You know, he's got a great team around him. I've seen how they work up close for the Liam Smith rematch, and I really feel like he's going to go in there and dominate this time. And I think, you know, I said that last time. I think this time he's, you know, I know his preparations are spot on, and I look forward to him going in there and causing some damage.
In a training session, Chris Eubank Jr. is in training, cycling hard, focused, pushing through the intensity. His trainer, Bomac, is right beside him, shouting motivation and keeping his energy high. It's a clear picture of Eubank's determination and the strong bond between fighter and coach as they prepare for another war in the ring.
So now you gotta go in for the kill. This is where the kill is made at. This is where the kill is made at. Pick it up, man. Pick it up. Pick it up. Pick it up, man. Pick it up. Hey.
Meanwhile, Conor Benn's locked in with his trainer, the sharp pop of the focus mitts echoing with every punch. He's drilling powerful, aggressive body shots, a clear sign he plans to attack with serious force from the opening bell. Away from the mitts, he's taking that same ferocity to the heavy bag, honing his power and explosiveness. It's a punishing routine, all pointing to one goal, being absolutely ready to make a devastating statement on fight night. So here we are, the final countdown. After all the talk, the training, and the tension, it all comes down to what happens under those bright lights. Can Conor Benn's newfound discipline and raw power shut down a determined Eubank, or will Chris Eubank Jr.'s experience and new tactical edge be the difference maker? One thing's for sure, this isn't just another fight. It's about legacy, it's about pride, and for both men, it's about securing their future in this sport. We've given you our breakdown, now we want to hear yours. Let us know who you've got in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our post-fight analysis. It's going to be a night to remember.